Hey Alex, welcome to the Grow and Connect podcast.
How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Great, doing great. Well, let's start off with you giving a little bit of background about yourself and kind of telling us a little bit of what got you to where you are today.
Absolutely. My name is Alex Leon. Grew up in Austria. I grew up as a what you could label as shy, introverted kind of kid and went to a technical high school. Therefore, was always good with computers, systems, programming, and not so good with social stuff, women, and getting a girlfriend. And that's kind of how I spent the first 23, 24 years of my life until I decided that's not cool. I want to be able to approach women. I want to be able to manifest, relationships into my life and not just stick with that label of, oh, you're introverted and therefore you can't be social or therefore you can't get hot chicks. So I went super hard into like that scene. Back in the days, you would call it the pickup scene. And these days, a cold approach or whatever you want to call it. I had a mentor, did thousands and thousands of approaches myself, learned a lot about it, started coaching other guys, and helping still kind of like introverted engineer type of dudes with dating these days. That's kind of like the short story.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing. So, how does one start cold approaching? I know a lot of men out there just have like this unreal anxiety when it comes to just seeing a girl walking up to her and saying, hey, how are you? How does one get started with it? And then how does one master it, if that's even possible?
Yeah, I could give a million answers to that question because it's kind of like the golden question, right? How do you actually do it? I would say the sooner you can get from the theory into the execution, the better. You could read books, you can watch videos, you can watch my channel forever. And I even tell it in my videos, like, please stop watching me and go out and talk to a girl. So the real question is, what can help you actually do an approach? If you internally feel like doing an approach is something wrong, you may be bothering women, you're not supposed to do it, or you will get rejected anyway, then that's an internal issue that you can work with. But the paradox here is you still need praxis and execution to even overcome those limiting beliefs. You can't read a book that says it's okay to approach or you are worthy or she won't be, it's not the end of the world if you get rejected. If you read that in a book, it has no meaning. You have to experience it yourself. So whatever gets you out there, could be a wingman, could be a friend who keeps you accountable, could be a coach, right? I mean, that's what we do on workshops and in my online mentoring to get the reps in. It is about repetition, like many other things. You don't expect to go to the gym for 3 days and then, expect big muscles. You don't expect to learn piano in a week. You don't expect to become amazing at your job in a week. And it's the same here. The easier you can get into it and start getting reps, the better, as I would say.
Okay, so we have to go out there and practice the skill. In this day and age of apps and internet dating, the Hinge, Tinder, why is it even important to go out there and cold approach when you can just optimize your profile and then get some dates that way?
Yeah. I think everyone has to answer that for themselves. Here's my experience with dating apps. In the beginning, I still did get some matches, and that was fun. And I'm talking 2013 to 2015. Damn, what year we have? 26? So over 10 years ago. I did get some matches. And then I did also get some match in places where I would be exotic, right? Like maybe if me as a European traveled to Latin America or to Asia, I would get some matches. But they were never the girls I'm truly into. You know what I mean, right? Like you walk on the street, you walk in the city center, you see like a beautiful, beautiful woman. Those never matched me, honestly. And we know the statistics. How is it? Like 90% of women only match or like swipe right or whatever the right side is on like 4% of guys or 5% or whatever the stats are. So that's the first part. It's just like if you are okay with dating subpar women that you're not really that attracted to, stick with dating apps. It's fine. If you want to get the leftovers, it works sometimes. But if you're a guy who's like, hey, I actually want more out of life and I don't just want to get a match and get laid here and there, but I actually want to attract women that I'm excited about, that I'm like thinking about, that I'm horny for, that I'm challenged by. The reality is you won't find them on dating apps, especially not consistently, right? Can you get lucky here and there? Sure. But I want to have a system that consistently gets me, in this case, attractive women into my life, because that was the goal for many years for me. And cold approach is that system, because I can just walk up to the woman. There's no algorithm that separates us. There's no phone that separates us. I don't have to wait for her to text back. I can just shoot my shot. And then, okay, turning that into an actual date is a different story. But at least that all these barriers are dissolved.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have the whole world and your surrounding to choose from versus just, whatever is there on the app.
Yeah.
So let's say,
And just sorry, obviously on top of all that, it's like the Match Group, which owns Tinder and Bumble and Hinge or whatever. All of them, all of the apps are owned basically by one or two or three companies. It's like they're on the stock market. They need to make money. They have investors. They have board meetings. They have CEOs. It's a machine. They need to make money. The only way they're gonna make money if they're gonna hook you, right? The same as Instagram needs to hook you, so you spend more time on the app so they make more money with advertising. The same as McDonald's needs to hook you so you keep buying their food, and cigarette companies need to hook you so you keep buying cigarettes. These companies need to hook you by giving you the illusion that you can meet hot women.
if they give you what you want, you're not going to come back and use it. Right?
Exactly.
So,
Keep making money, keep the stock price going up. And I work with guys all over the world. 1 out of 100 is like happy with dating apps. The other 99 or 97, they're frustrated.
Yeah. So let's say, I met someone and I mastered cold approach. I could meet girls. What does it take for a guy in this day and age? What does he have to have going for himself, in your opinion, to like lock a girl down, get a girlfriend?
I think people are overthinking this. I try to not consume too much of dating content, ironically, It's kind of like if you produce that type of content, you don't want to constantly also consume it yourself. So I see people are a little bit confused of what it takes, and they think you need millions of dollars, or if you don't look like Chad or, the looks maxing movement, it's pretty funny to me, then you don't have a chance anyway, because of a few women online who are very loud about, my man needs to make 1 million a month or whatever, right? It's not true from my experience, because I talk to many women every week. I talk to models because I also run a bikini brand. I talk to women on the street. I talk to female friends. I talk to women at events. So I feel like I have a good feeling of what actually is the market, right? So to your question, what do women want, especially young women? They want to feel safe. That's the first thing. Every woman wants to be safe, no matter how hot she is, how smart she is, how attractive she is. So I could say it as like, how do you make her feel safe? Well, calibration, right? You see her needs, you respect them. And I'm not saying you need to be Mr. Nice Guy, and buy her flowers, but don't be an asshole. You should, for example, I'll give you a practical example, right? You go on a date and you're a man, so you should try to kiss her. And you should try to kiss her on the first date. I don't think there's a reason to go on 3, 4, 5 dates, right? Try to kiss her on the first date. Now, it is obviously her right to not kiss you within whatever, an hour, and to reject you, right? Maybe she pulls away or she turns her cheek. And now is the moment where you can show her what kind of guy you are. It's actually a great opportunity for you. Are you going to be reactive? Are you going to get rejected and be like a baby about it? Are you going to be like, what? Like, why you come on a date and you don't kiss me, right? Or I'm paying for the dinner. You can at least give me a kiss or something like this. Instantly, her brain switches to not safe, right? If you can't handle a tiny rejection like that, I don't want to be with this guy. He's weird. But if you take it easy, you smile it off, you change the topic, and you try again in an hour, and you basically show her, hey, I'm a man. I know my role. It's to escalate. It's to make a move. It's to show you I'm attracted to you. But I'm also a gentleman, and I know a boundary when you set one, and I respect it. And I'll just not make a big deal out of it, right? So that's safety. And then, of course, what she also values is a certain level of, let's say, not only like protection and safety in like the physical terms, but also like, can you later provide for her, Like, if you like it or not, women, that's a part of safety. They want to be provided for. That could mean financially, but not in the millions. Just like, do I know that this guy will figure it out? You know, do I trust him to grow? Do I trust him to slowly increase his income or figure it out professionally? So if you show that through intellect, and one great way of showing intellect is humor. That's why women say they like a guy who's funny. Not because they want to laugh, but they know if he's funny, it means he's not only intellectually intelligent because he can think fast, but he's also socially intelligent, because to make people laugh, you have to be calibrated. So that's kind of it, right? Just don't be an asshole and be a little bit ambitious, really. That's and then approach enough women until you find someone who you like.
What about to the people that say, does a woman necessarily need to be provided for? I mean, perhaps she does, but this day and age, a woman can provide for herself. Was she
Mm-hmm.
really looking for a guy that could give her, a place to live? If it's, not a mansion, but like a very humble, I'm not going to say poor, but like a humble standard of living. She really looking for that because she can have that on herself. A lot of women this day and age are making, like, let's say in the US and Europe, between like 60 and 100,000. So she can get all that to herself. What about to all the people that are kind of saying, well, really women are just looking to have fun,
Mm-hmm.
or to like have a good time. So if she can have a good of time without you, at that same like standard of living at, let's say, like dollars, does she really need you? Like, if you can then provide a standard of living or fun that's like way above her standard, then she would be like, all right, I need this guy. This guy can provide, like, more fun or like cool things to do at a level that I can't do myself. But do I need this guy that's at the same level as me to like partner with, when I could just do my own thing without him?
Yeah, a lot of topics here, right? So let's kind of work through it one by one. The quick answer is, even if she makes a lot of money, she still wants a guy who matches her. I mean, there's statistics about that. I don't know them from the top of my head, but like, she will respect you more if you make the same or more. That's just the reality of it, right? Otherwise, the relationship, and we're talking about relationship here now, right? Not just getting laid quickly. That's a different topic, which we can also talk about. I'm not judging it. I like getting laid. But if it's a relationship, it's good if you make more. Even if she can afford for herself, she can provide for herself. It's not about the money to buy something. It's who she sees you as, right? Are you that type of man who goes for it, right? Now, the other thing is, I hear that often of like, oh, women have more college degrees now than men, and they make more. Or there's more women making this than men. It's like, okay, from my experience as a man, I value women who can give me nurturing energy, who can make me feel good, who can run the household, who are emotionally available to me. Also, who are flexible to travel with me, right? I have a very active life. I'm on like 50 flights per year. I don't want a woman who is in the office 47 weeks of the year, and I have to like ask her to beg her boss to take a week off just so she can travel with me. So that's not interesting to me. And I have very successful friends. They don't give a damn how much the woman makes. Most of them, all of them, want the same as me, right? So I think if you are successful as a man, you don't want a career woman anyway, because she doesn't hit the metrics that are interesting to you as a dude, right? You can provide for yourself. You don't need the woman to provide for you. And if you're not ambitious, yeah, then you're kind of doomed. You should be at some level ambitious as a man anyway. That's bigger than dating, I think.
Okay. So ambition and making more money than the woman in a relationship are two things that sort of help for the relationship to last and make it better. What other things do you think contribute to a good relationship besides those?
Being a good communicator.
What does that actually mean?
What does that mean? It's a good question. I can speak for myself here. I'm gonna make it personal because I don't want to speak for everyone. But I know, growing up in Austria, and maybe you can relate to that growing up. I don't know how long you spend in Eastern Europe yourself, but we don't talk about our emotions very much, right? It's just not a thing. You just keep it in and you just deal with it, and that's just how life is, right? And to an extent, that has its benefits. I'm not saying men need to be 100% vulnerable all the time and share all the feelings and, be a flower and get offended. So I don't mind a little bit tough love, and holding it in and being a man. But there's an extreme where if you hold things in too much, eventually they come out in an unhealthy way, right? So with your partner, maybe eventually you burst and you throw everything all at once at her, or you build resentment to your partner. I've unfortunately seen that so many times in my close family. It's just like they're just holding it in year after year, and then resentment builds and then it explodes, and that's not a healthy relationship. Being able to communicating your needs in a direct way, you don't have to be flower about it, but just say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I need. When you did this didn't go well with me, and having these hard conversations early on, let it better than later. I think that's really healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, my experience, I grew up mostly here,
Okay.
and my experience within relationships has been I always communicated my feelings or my wants, and when something, and even my down times when something was bad, I would go to my girlfriend and say, "Oh, you know, this is bad, this didn't work out." I really treated her like a partner, and as I grew older, I realized that I should probably stop doing that. And so
Yeah.
now the only communication that I really do with my girlfriend is I set boundaries and I enforce those boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
then when something doesn't go well at work, even when I don't feel well, I just hold it in. And if I need to talk about it, I go to my buddies and say, hey, bro, let's go get a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Drink a couple of beers and let it all out.
Yeah.
And I gotta say that my relationship, I think because of that, maybe, but is great. There's she just sees me as someone that always handles the situation and things never go wrong because I never report when things
Mm.
do go wrong. So she has no conception of that.
And would
Everything's
you
peachy.
would you like to share with her? And I know it's maybe dangerous, right? She doesn't want to see you as weak, but would you like to? Like if there would be no consequences.
Yeah, there is that urge that sometimes I want to tell her yeah, I had a bad day, at work, this didn't go well, that
Yeah.
didn't go well. But, I stop myself and really ask myself, well, what would be besides me feeling better because I let it out? What would be the outcome of that and what would be the impact
Mm-hmm.
on the relationship? Is it going to make the relationship better or worse? And in my experience, at least, I kind of deduced that she, even if it's a little bit, she's gonna lose some faith in me subconsciously, a little bit. And then if I keep doing that, well, then that may have noticeable negative effect
Yeah.
on things. So I just,
I think it's nuanced. It's more nuanced than that because I totally know what you mean, right? I know that saying, crying in front of a girl is like bleeding in front of a shark. Have you heard that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think it's a good idea to cry in front of your girl. Now, that being said, there's nuance, right? Like, if my mom died and I cry, she will not leave me, And if she does, she's weird and we shouldn't be together anyway. Like, if we truly talk proper, solid relationship, she loves you so much because she trusts you so much because you've built so much trust that she wants to support you. Now, reporting on bad events or things that bother you is also nuanced. Are you whining loser who comes home every day and complains about your boss? What an asshole your boss is, and again, he gave me more work and I don't like my job. Okay, I get it. I would also leave you because I don't want to listen to your bullshit every day without you doing something about it, right? But if I tell my girl, hey, my business is struggling right now, I'm not making as much money as I used to, so now I'm thinking of doing this and that, and I have this idea, and I'm gonna work through it. Now she's like, he's a human, a multi-spectrum human. He has things. He's not perfect. It adds layer to you, and he's gonna do something about it. I think she can trust you more. So I think that's the nuance, right? Like nobody wants to listen to a baby cry every day without taking action. Like that's not a man. that's a baby. But every human can have a hard time. It's about, are you going to
Yeah.
do something about it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, the saying that women wait at the finish line, right? They wait for the winners at the finish line. And
Yeah.
so to me, that's sort of like an extenuation of that thought. Like, yeah, he's doing something about it, but so why aren't things going well? Why isn't your business going well? I
Hmm.
think at like a subconscious level, not at a conscious level, it's sort of, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, right? But I've given this a lot of thought because I do experience those emotions of wanting to share with her and sometimes tell her things aren't going well. But I think about it like if I was a soldier, right? Or like a platoon leader
Mm.
in some sort of mission and things like didn't go as well as they needed to, and then, like, if it was a situation where I needed their help, like, that's one thing I would share. But if it's something that they could not possibly impact,
Yeah.
right? Do they really need to know? Because it would lower their morale if
No.
it's, something that they couldn't do anything about anyway. Or do you just keep it tight-lipped and work through it and like get back? And so now there's been like no glitches, right? So yeah, that's how I kind of think of it as yeah, kind of an extenuation of the female waiting at the finish line.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the platoon and the, you don't want to like stress out your soldiers who are like fighting at the front with some bad news because you want them to keep fighting kind of way. But I think the woman can do something about it. Like that's kind of the whole point of a partnership. Like she can support you emotionally in a way that you cannot do alone if she is a nurturing woman. Right? Like that's the big if she has this feminine nurturing side that gives you this level of energy. Now, I've of course heard and experienced in my personal life the women wait or want the guy who's already at the finish line not go the path with him anymore. It's not all women. It's just, again, it's the, if I would have to explain it, I think it's mediocre guys chasing super hot women who have insane amounts of options, right? Like it's like a 7 out of 10 dude who just thinks he's cool, but he's just not. He's a bit weird. And he's chasing like a 10. And the 10, fair enough, market forces can date a guy at the finish line because she's a fucking 10. She's the hottest fucking girl. And now the 7 is like, oh, women these days only. It's like, no, bro, you just punching above your league. That's how I would explain it. And then he goes on a podcast and is like, all women these days. Like, no, bro, you're trying to get the 10 who could date the not only like rich guy, but he's not only rich, he's also cool, he's well dressed, he's charming, he feels her make safe, and you're just not that guy, and now you're whining about it. From my experience, 97% of women are not gold diggers, right? I don't know how it is in one certain area in Miami and one certain area in LA. I have clients in LA. I get it. It's a bit different. I have clients in Miami. I get it. But 99% of the world is not LA and Miami. And most women are not like that. It's just portrayed on the internet. If you genuinely go out there on the street, not in some club of bottle service, not on OnlyFans, whatever, actually talk to women who like go to work, go to uni, and chat them up and go on dates with them, they're not like that. They just want a cool guy, right? Who has ambition, but has to be at the finish line yet. That whole meme is not based in statistical reality. It's just like some loud people's opinion.
Yeah, I could definitely, I think I could see that. That's definitely true.
Like I would challenge all these people to actually do 500 approaches, right? Like they're spending too much time at their desk behind a microphone and not enough time on the street actually talking to women.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have to say that the cold approach skills and the ability to check girls up when you go out is super important during a relationship, especially during a relationship. Obviously, it's important to get into a relationship, but once you're in a relationship, your ability to do that and then your partner, your girlfriend sees you doing that, that just tightened things up
Maybe not doing it in
right
front of
away.
her all the time.
Right.
At least she
But
should know you have the ability to do it. Yeah,
right.
that's an, you
You
know,
don't need to do it
yeah.
all the time, but once in a
Hey babe,
while.
hold my
Once in a
coffee,
while.
hold my beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, once in
Yeah,
a
no,
while.
that for sure. I think a healthy relationship, to add on that last thing, is also two people who both have a lot of options and choose to stay together, right? Like that's like, wow, if I know my girlfriend so hot and amazing, she could date all these guys, but she doesn't, she chose me. And at the same time, she's like, oh my God, Alex, he's so cool, he has all these girls, but he chooses me, is gonna enforce the relationship for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, women love to choose the men that other women have chosen, right?
For
So
sure, for sure.
it's a big one. So we touched a little bit on polarity, I think, when we spoke a little earlier, but what are your views on, polarity as far as obviously the man has to wear the pants, right, in the relationship. I think we can agree on that. But, there is a spectrum of, that partnership, looks like. What do you think like, the sweet spot is as far as how much the man wears the pants? And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Two things. One is like it is individual, you know. Some guys are hyper masculine and then the polarity, therefore they want a very feminine woman. Other guys are just not that masculine, right? Everyone wants to believe I'm masculine, I want to be masculine. Being hyper masculine is the only thing these days. Well, some guys just don't have that and they don't have to, right? So not everyone should strive for the hyper masculinity. Now, I would describe
What do
myself
you
as
mean? What do you mean
like,
by masculine and hyper masculine? Do you mean like physically
yeah, like I
or
have to take care of
emotionally or
everything, the man, and I'm gonna get to the other side of that soon. And then like basically how it's being portrayed a bit on social media, like kind of like the Tate type of masculinity of like she shuts up, she stays home, I take care of things, da da da, and she has no right, and it's like totalitarian kind of like masculinity, right? Now, that being said, I would see it like this, right? My mentor said, there's two types of leaders. There's the leaders, people follow them because if they don't follow them, they get killed. And then there's the leaders who the people follow them because when you follow that leader, their life gets better, right? So when it comes to polarity, well, I want to be a man where the woman follows me not because she's afraid of me because I'm so masculine, aka loud, aggressive, whatever, if that's what you think masculinity is, which I don't think. But she's like, oh, I can trust this guy so much. I feel so safe around him. Not only protection, money, physically, but also emotionally. I can open up to him, right? I gave the example with like, he sees my boundaries, which then extends into the bedroom, right? Like maybe one day she doesn't feel like having sex, or maybe it's the first time having sex with that guy and she's on her period and she's like, oh, it's too early, or I didn't shave my legs. And he respects that, right? That's also masculinity, to see somebody's needs and be okay with that, not trying to get what you want all the time. Or let me try to think of another example, not only about, I mean, also in sexuality, aftercare, right? Like, how do you treat a woman after you got what you wanted? Do you continue it in a sensual way, or you just go back to work because you're such a man? It's like, no, a real man takes care of her. And that extends throughout an entire relationship. So that's kind of like my view on that. Now, because I just don't see how a certain, fresh and fit type of masculine, feminine would play out over 10, 20, 30, 40 years of a relationship. It's fun. I mean, in a relationship, 1, 2, 3 years where you're the man and she's like the feminine, aka the pretty princess girl. But how does that play out over many, 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 many decades? We kind of have to build a foundation and build something on top of it, like a family and stuff. Do you see what I mean? It's a bit vague, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. You're saying when, when you're at the point where you're building a family and, then you kind of have to rely on each other more. So it's more difficult to maintain that polarized state because
yeah.
there's just responsibilities and things that kind of build up.
Yeah, and a new definition of what it means to be a man, right? So if I say like I'm a man, therefore my wife needs to be a total housewife, and I will never ever change the diapers of my baby. And if she asks me to, I will divorce her, right? I've heard these things before. It's like, well, maybe you're not, like, if you can't change your baby's diapers once in a while, maybe you're not that much of a man, right? You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. Most of the time, she should, of course, take care of the household. If you fucking work hard, you have your business, or you fucking, you put in a lot of effort to create that household, she should do most of it. But if you make drama because one day she asks you to do something in the household and you make a fuss about it, that's kind of gay.
Yeah, but I feel like um, she can ask you. I've been in situations where, usually my girlfriend's been cooking and doing stuff, and it's like she'll ask me to like do the dishes, but I kind of feel like, and I kind of look at her and I'm like, have you been in a situation when you're out on like a date or you just meet a girl and she goes, "Hey, can you hold my purse? I
Hmm.
gotta like go do something."
Yeah.
No, I used to be that guy to be like, "Oh yeah, okay, let me hold your purse." And now I realize, well, that's like a test. She's like telling me to hold her purse because she's testing me. Am I like gonna like hold the purse of this girl that I maybe kind of know?
Hmm.
So I feel like when my girlfriend is like, "Oh yeah, can you wash the dishes?" Even though like I'm the one that is always paying for stuff, and I, bought the groceries, like I did all these things, and I just look at her, and I'm afraid, maybe it's like my insecurity, but I'm afraid that if I actually do the dishes, that it's just like another test, and so I kind of like play it off, and I'm playful. I'm like, "Oh, I make up with some like excuse and ask her, do you want me to like start cooking and like as well and like doing like all these things?" So
I think that's gonna lead to resentment later. I think it's a disaster in the making. Like, if you hate doing the dishes, then it's your responsibility to communicate that clearly of like, hey babe, da da da. Because if it happens in the moment and then you like, play it off humorously, there's something in her brain that goes like, either it's like, I get it, but it leaves a bad taste in her mouth for sure. If you are the guy who's like, babe, I get you don't want to do dishes, blah, 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 but here's why I hate doing it and I never want to do it ever. Here's my reasons. Do you understand that? And you have a conversation about it, fine. Like, but if you don't mind doing it, and she's like, again, I get the whole test thing, right? But if she's genuinely your partner, you have to be able to do these things because otherwise, where are you going to end up? Like, sure, women throw tests at you. I get it. I'm around women all the time. I'm on, like women you just met and they throw shit at you and they tell you hold your drink, and it is a test, right? But even rejecting holding the woman's purse is also failing the test. That's the crazy thing, right? Because like it shows her insecurity. So if a girl asks me, "Hey, hold my drink," maybe I hold it, and if she lets me hold it for longer than reasonable, maybe she's tying her shoes or whatever, she needs a napkin, and then she keeps letting me hold it, I start drinking it,
no, okay, well
right?
that's a good way to
Like,
play it.
because if saying like, "I'm not gonna hold your drink, I'm a man," you think that's manly? No. She's like, "Okay, loser."
But a drink is different than a purse. You can't look
I
manly
take the purse
holding
and
a purse.
I open it and I start, "Oh, why are you having, oh, you're
Okay,
wearing
okay,
condoms? Oh, it's funny." I have
okay,
fun with it, light, humorous.
yeah. No,
It's
that's good.
So, is it a test? Yeah. And then I'm telling her, like, I see it's a test, and let's see if you can handle my test.
Yeah.
And then we both respect each other more because it's like, what else is she supposed to do? Not test a man? Like, she has to
No, right. I
test,
agree.
right?
I
She
agree.
has to.
I
It's
agree.
it's literally her job to test men. So, rejecting the test is also failing the test.
Right. Well, yeah, so I agree with you 100%. I think opening up the purse and going through it is a good way to handle it. I just usually try to point out someone else that could help her and make some excuse. I'm not like serious about it. I try to
Yeah.
play it off as a joke, but next time I will
Yeah,
I
it's not the
will
gentleman
start
way.
digging through it.
It's not the high value man thing. Like, you have to trust me in this, but I've been around guys who genuinely on hard with the hottest women in the world. Like, everyone you see on Instagram, millions of followers. I know guys who sleep with those girls. Those guys are the sweetest, dudes, gentlemen, forthcoming. If any woman asks, like, hey, can you do this, they're like, sure, of course, dear, right? Because they portray status in other ways. They're not afraid to having a little test ruin their whole illusion of high value, man. Right, so there's levels to this game. Let's say it like this.
Yeah, agreed. There are definitely levels and nuances. Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Alex. Thanks for coming on our podcast. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah,
If
likewise. That was fun.
someone who's interested in reaching out and working with you, where can they find you? Where are the best channels?
Sure. My most kind of active channel is YouTube. So if you put in Alex Leon dating on YouTube, my channel will pop up. If you want to check out my mentoring or live workshops that I do, you can put alex-leon.com. You see the workshop schedule. I'm going around the world helping guys. And yeah, thanks to you. It was fun. Good, challenging questions. I enjoy very much.
Great, awesome. And we'll put all of the links to all of your socials underneath this podcast. Bye, Alex.
Thanks, Igor. Bye-bye.